All eyes ahead for 2019. We're here to report on the future of the Dallas Cowboys. We move forward with new coaches. We break down the draft, fine-tune the roster, and ask who's getting paid and who's got to wait. And, as usual, we bring you insider access to OTAs and minicamps, priming you for 2019. We're the Blitz, and we're bringing it all to you, straight from the Star.
Welcome into a brand new episode of The Blitz. Lindsay Draper and Bill Jones. We've got great things for you for this episode. We talk a lot of the draft, new prospects. We even get into a little debate about who the Cowboys could take at 58. But, Bill, this was a big week for the whole Dallas sports scene in general.
Yep, and I think you can even go international on that when you talk about the big German, Dirk Nowitzki, as he retires from the game of basketball. And, yes, there was a Cowboys flavor at American Airlines Center back on Tuesday night. I just love seeing so many Cowboys players come out to pay tribute to an icon like Dirk.
Randall Cobb even in the mix, getting to know his new players. The Star in Frisco here even did their own tribute to Dirk and filled up the Tostitos Championship Plaza with his photo. A lot of fans coming through to take photos. It was a gorgeous day this week, crazy weather weekend, but nice to see a little tribute, Bill. But of course, the big news earlier that day was the DeMarcus Lawrence contract, $105 million. The signing is done. It was a very lighthearted press conference, too.
Yep, and you can expect that when Tank is involved. And, of course, they did that on Tuesday, which was Dirk's day, kind of turned the afternoon into DeMarcus' day because he was having surgery on Wednesday, which went well to repair the torn labrum. And that was the key on getting this deal done now to begin with, is because they needed to take care of that shoulder so that he'll be in a position where he can contribute right from the get-go once the season starts.
And let's hear more from Stephen Jones.
You know, sometimes I think when you sit down and have a visit, which we've done, this certainly wasn't rare. I mean, we do this with players, and sometimes just the players, sometimes the players and the agent. And, you know, you have a good cordial call that we're really not trying to, you know, we're on the same team here. We're just trying to do something that works. And, of course, at the end of the day, we're not saving any money for the organization. This is how you divide up the pie. There's a salary cap, and we have to divide it up and manage it. And it's certainly not the player's job, as DeMarcus eloquently said. That's not his job. And, of course, he's trying to get as much of the pie as he can, which we understand that too. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think he understood what we were trying to do, and it's great to get on the phone and see that there's a mutual respect there. As I said, I think he felt, you know, sometimes you feel like, well, they're against me, and we're really not. We're rooting for him. We're wanting to get it done, and, you know, we want to pay him, as I've said about all the players, we want to pay him fairly. But unfortunately, if you're going to try to put together a Super Bowl caliber type team, you can't, not unlike the early 90s, you can't have everybody trying to max out their deal. And I know deep down, you know, that's a hard thing to get your hands around when you're a player, but at the same time, that's our job, is to, you know, try to verbalize that to them, that we've got to take care of other people too.
I think one of the keys on this was DeMarcus taking the situation, taking the bull by the horns himself, and wanting to get a deal done. He wanted to stay here in Dallas, and he was not going to sit out this season. Let's hear from Tank.
You know, that's one thing players don't like to see, you know. People with, you know, less talent, or, you know what I'm saying, less playmaking skills getting paid more than them. So, like I said, it was truly a blessing to be able to get this deal done and to be a Cowboy for long term. You know, once you get a second franchise tag, you know, placed on you, like, signals can go everywhere. Like, all right, like, they really don't want you long term. Like, you know, what are they, you know, trying to really do? Like, you know, so, like, I was stuck in a rock and a hard place. Like, the first franchise tag already is hard enough, you know, just to play on that. So, like I said, it was truly a blessing, you know, just to be able to get on that phone call and, you know, hear everybody's standpoints. It wasn't going to be no Le'Veon situation. I ain't play football. I'm not skipping $20 million for nobody.
Very lighthearted, some fun stuff from DeMarcus Lawrence. And Stephen Jones said it after the press conference. This is about who wants to get the deals done. Who's next?
Well, I think the quarterback is right there at the top of the list going into his contract year. You got Dak, you got Zeke with 2 years left on his deal. And then, of course, you got Byron Jones, who's out after his hip surgery up until training camp. But Dak is next on the list.
Yep, and Stephen said DeMarcus is the highest paid for now, but that might be very short-lived. And we are going to take a break because when we come back, we're getting set for Mickey Spagnola to join us from the bullpen and discuss all the nitty-gritty details of DeMarcus Lawrence's contract and much more next.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz is brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And by Dallas Cowboys Football Club. For the ultimate Dallas Cowboys experience, tour the Star in Frisco, where the Cowboys train and work. For more information, visit thestarinfrisco.com/tours. This segment is brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing.
And the big Cowboy news over the weekend, Tank Lawrence got his deal.
We got word Friday that it was coming down. I was definitely pretty shocked.
Being able to rehab in time to be able to start the season on time, that deadline can rise.
Being a Cowboy, you know how special this place is.
DeMarcus Lawrence, the deal is done. We talked about it already, Bill, so now let's bring in our buddy, Mickey Spags.
Oh, yeah, Mickey Spagnola in the bullpen here at the Star in Frisco. Let's talk about Tank Lawrence. Of course, it's called a 5-year, $105 million deal, but in actuality, what did the Cowboys sign DeMarcus Lawrence to? What kind of contract there, Mickey?
Well, Bill, if you look at the guaranteed money, which was $65 million, it's paid off over the first 3 years. So technically 3 years, $65 million, about $21.5 million average. There's no guarantees in the final 2 years of his contract, and that means there's $40 million stuffed into the back end of the contract. So they kind of did a compromise. They kind of got their shorter deal, but gave him the opportunity to earn $105 million if he is playing at a high level for 5 years.
All right, Mickey, my question to you now, we've talked about it all week long here at the Star, is who is next and what does it look like whenever they try to get these next deals done? Well,
with DeMarcus Lawrence now signed, obviously he's your left defensive end. On the right side, you'll either have Robert Quinn, Randy Gregory, if he's able to be eligible to play, and then you got Tyrone Crawford, who can play either side if they want him at end or if they want to move him inside. Taco Charlton is there. This is his 3rd year. It's time for him to step up. You got Dorrance Armstrong, who showed him a little bit as a rookie last year and the ability to play both sides. So from a depth standpoint, the defensive end position is in pretty good shape, assuming that DeMarcus Lawrence is ready to play to start the season.
What do you think, Mickey, this does as far as when they look ahead to the draft? Obviously, defensive line has been a position of need, but you got a lot of bodies, a lot of veteran bodies in there now on the defensive line.
Yeah, and, you know, I think at this point the defensive end position is in pretty good shape, especially if Randy Gregory is reinstated from his indefinite suspension. But to me, if you were going to add a defensive lineman and you had your druthers, then I would say a defensive tackle because I think they could use some more depth there, especially since for the next year, if you go forward, Malik Collins will be end up being a free agent. So you got a pretty good starting 2 there, but if you can get another defensive tackle to help, you're obviously not going to have David Irving, and if you can find a difference maker, a 3-technique type defensive tackle, I would rather see them do that than draft another defensive end.
What do you think is their biggest need on defense in the draft?
Well, after defensive tackle, then they need some depth at the safety position. I don't know that you have to have that safety in the 2nd round because I'm just kind of looking at it, And I'm thinking if they draft a safety in the second round, he's probably not starting. It's going to be Jeff Heath and Xavier Woods. And you're looking for a strong safety, not a free safety. So I think that would be at some point in the draft, third, fourth, fifth round, to bring in another safety and kind of groom him for the future.
All right, Mickey, thank you so much for joining us. Was that a playoff hockey beard?
I think it was. I think it was.
Might be that. All right, coming up next, more draft talk. We got David Hellman and Brian Broaddus, our experts, coming in studio to break down, could a running back be drafted at 58? We got to discuss next.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. This segment is brought to you by Formation. Work the Cowboys way at the Star in Frisco. Formation offers workspaces, dedicated desks, and private offices. For more information, visit formationatthestar.com.
As we are closer to the draft, why not take a little walk down memory lane? 1990. You remember this, Bill?
I do remember this. Yes, I was at Valley Ranch, and look at Emmett in the polka dot outfit. It takes a lot of courage to wear that on the first day that you become a Dallas Cowboy. That's when I knew Emmitt Smith was going to make it in the NFL. The polka dot outfit was the dead. Oh, my Lord.
You were going to make it in television when I saw this stand up by you, Bill Jones.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, let's move on. Move on. Wow.
I want to go back. I mean, I love it. It's a throwback for the ages.
You know what we're going to do next week? We're going to have a throwback and show what Lindsay looked like when Emmitt Smith was drafted.
I was 1 week old.
1 week old. So baby pictures of Lindsay next week. But right now, it's time to talk draft. It's time to talk best available player. I think Emmitt was the best available player in 1990 at number 17 in the first round. What do you say, David Hellman and Brian Broaddus?
Bill, you're probably right about that, but the Cowboys had a first-round pick when they took Emmitt Smith.
Right.
They don't have one this year. We've covered that, right? So Bill alluded to it. In my opinion, probably the biggest cliche in draft talk, best player available.
Right.
Because it's not really true, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, I want to always let you believe that it's true.
You don't want to window dress your board,
No, don't want to window dress your board.
But at the same time, Stephen Jones says it all the time. It's absolutely true. You're looking at best available player with need, right? I mean, and so it begs a really good question. What do the Cowboys need, because they've done such a good job of addressing those needs in free agency this year?
Can I interest you in a backup running back?
At 58?
Well, I mean,
no.
I'm just talking about, though, if you want to. What if the value, though, what if the best available player happens to be a running back?
See, and that is why this is such a fascinating debate, because, okay, and in your head, you're probably thinking Damian Harris, right?
Right, absolutely.
The Alabama running back. The Cowboys have shown interest in him. He might be the best available player on the board when the Cowboys pick at 58. But with Ezekiel Elliott on the roster, can you really justify that expense on a backup running back?
Well, I think if you look at, when you're talking about the positions of need, though, everybody that you're going to draft at 58 is likely going to be a backup player.
That upsets me when you say that.
Oh,
we're
but
talking
it's true.
about safeties. We're talking about maybe Washington's Taylor Rapp could fall down the board.
Absolutely.
Maybe Virginia's Juan Thornhill. Guys that could push for starting time, in my opinion. You don't think so?
No, how about Jawan Williams?
Jawan Williams,
the quarterback from Vanderbilt. Yeah. These guys, I think all these guys will be backup players initially, I think is what's going to happen to you.
So by that logic, you would be just fine drafting Damian Harris.
I would be. I absolutely would be.
Are you just saying that because you're bracing yourself for it happening?
No. I believe, though, that is a need for this team. If you saw what happened to Ezekiel Elliott last year, they need a backup running back.
I hear you. I would like to think, you look at safety.
Embrace it, Dave.
You look at defensive tackle.
Yeah.
You look at maybe even tight end, and he wouldn't get a lot of playing time, but I think it's a bigger need than running back.
Yeah.
I just think there would have to be another way, which now that I've said it, the Cowboys will probably draft a running back at 58, but that's still 2 weeks away, so we got more to talk.
No, we got to figure out why they brought Damian Harris
I think we know why they brought him in, Brian.
To draft him, yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens, y'all, but we'll keep arguing about it till then.
All right, I'm going to add to the conversation there. I'll take you back to 2013 when the Cowboys in the second round took Gavin Escobar. The next pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they took Le'Veon Bell. And, of course, the Cowboys had DeMarco Murray back in 2013. Right. So revisionist history there.
I think it's a good argument.
You know?
Can we get more of that next week?
Okay, maybe so.
Let's do it. Taking a break here. Danny Sarek is joining the set when she comes back because we have yet more draft talk to cover. Who could end up as a Dallas Cowboy? How about this guy? That's next.
This segment was brought to you by Formation. Work the Cowboys way at the Star in Frisco. Formation offers workspaces, dedicated desks, and private offices. For more information, visit formationatthestar.com.
Over a week away from the 2019 NFL Draft in Music City. I think DeMarcus Lawrence said it earlier this week. You can never have too many pass rushers on this team.
Yes, and I've been studying those pass rushers in my Big Green NFL Draft Scouting Notebook, and I think Danny Sarek has been looking over my shoulder. She's got one of my favorites she's talking about this week. Danny?
Bill, I would never. However, I'm hoping one of those players is TCU's defensive end, Ban Banigou, who was a consistent force on the field for the Horned Frogs. He put up almost identical numbers his junior and senior year, however, improved in tackles, tackles for loss, and sacks. 2018, he had 57 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, and 8.5 sacks. Banigou says the road to success hasn't been an easy one. His junior year at Prosper High School, he broke his femur bone. He started his collegiate career at the University of Louisiana Monroe and then transferred to TCU. He says these experiences have taught him to be resilient against adversity and that he can handle whatever it takes to get to the NFL.
Figured out I could make a career in football would probably be my first game at TCU. It was my first game after sitting out a year, and that was really my game that I really came on the scene and showed everyone what I could do as a Horned Frog. So after that day, I was like, you know what, I think I can make a living out of this.
At the Senior Bowl North, coach John Gruden tested Banigou at the linebacker position. Banigou says that wasn't a struggle for him because it showcased his flexibility to play all around the field, which he describes as his best quality.
Wherever they put me, I'll be okay with it, and I know the type of player I am. I'm more football savvy. I make plays off instinct, and you know, I feel like players need that nowadays because you have quarterbacks that can throw the ball like a baseball and thread it through tight needles and chunk it down the field and all that stuff. So as a defensive player, you just need to be able to be versatile, and I feel like that's my biggest asset, is being versatile.
Banigou grew up a Cowboys fan and says one of his favorite players to watch was DeMarcus Ware, who also played linebacker and defensive end. On today's team, Banigou closely followed linebacker Leighton Vander Esch because of his standout rookie season.
And I feel like he should be, you know, the rookie of the year, at least in the NFC, just because the type of player he was this past year and the type of role that he filled in for the Cowboys. You know, Lee had some injury problems and wasn't able to be that leader that he's used to being throughout the year. And Vander Esch came in and stepped up along with Smith, and both those guys really were like the catalyst of the defense that kind of made that engine go.
Playing professional football for his hometown team is something Banigou says he's been dreaming of.
It would be pretty awesome to play at AT&T Stadium. I've played there twice over my career, and I've yet to win one. So I'm hoping that, you know, if I get to put the star on my helmet, I'm going to be winning a lot more games. So that would be really exciting. That would be a dream come true for me, to be playing for my hometown and to be a part of the Dallas Cowboys, because, you know, they're America's team.
Banigou attended the NFL Combine and had the best vertical jump amongst defensive linemen with a 40-inch jump. He also broke a 16-year record amongst defensive linemen for the best broad jump, 11 feet 2 inches. While he says he'd love to come play for his hometown team, he's not worrying about things he can't control. He's just focusing on staying consistent in his routine.
Well, and he's a very impressive guy. I remember talking to him at the Big 12 Media Days here at the Star. You could tell from that interview as well, he is the right kind of guy you want on your football team.
Sounds like Jason Garrett.
That's
Jason
exactly
Garrett,
right.
he might be on his
pride
radar.
of Prosper High School, too, just down the road.
Just up the road. Thanks so much, Danny. Taking our final break. We got some key dates for you next up here on the Blitz.
We are so excited to host Kaboo, Texas, May 10th through the 12th. This is our first ever music, comedy, and art festival, a 3-day-long event that will blend all of the 5 senses, have a wonderful entertainment, even a Basque pool, Vegas style, right out on the plaza, complete with humor me entertainers as well as great culinary experiences from some of the greatest chefs here in North Texas.
In case you missed it, the preseason schedule is out. The preseason schedule is out at San Francisco. A trip to Hawaii to play the Rams and then back home against the Texans and the Buccaneers.
Woo-woo! Aloha, Bill. It's going to be a fun one. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Blitz. We'll be back for more as we preview the draft next week.